The security cameras at my apartment keep recording. Someone who doesn't exist. I never wanted to be the guy obsessed with security cameras. A month ago, I didn't even own one. Now I have 8. And somehow, it's still not enough. It all started after my apartment manager sent me an email saying there had been a break-in on the 3rd floor. Nothing was stolen. No doors were forced open. Residents only reported hearing footsteps in the hallway around 3 in the morning. The police checked the building's cameras. Nobody was there. I remember laughing when I read the notice. Someone was probably drunk. Or sleepwalking. Life went on. A week later, I installed a small camera outside my front door anyway. Mostly because they were on sale. I figured it couldn't hurt. The first 3 nights were completely normal. Neighbors came and went. Delivery drivers walked past. Nothing unusual. Then, on the 4th night, the motion alert went off at exactly 3:03 a.m. Half asleep, I opened the app expecting to see another neighbor coming home late. Instead, the hallway was empty. The camera insisted it had detected a person. I rewound the footage. Nothing. Then I watched it again. Frame by frame. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. For less than a second, a shadow appeared at the very end of the hallway. It wasn't standing. It was leaning around the corner, watching my apartment. 1 frame later, it was gone. I zoomed in until the image became a blur. There were no facial features, no clothes, just a human-shaped silhouette. The next morning, I asked my neighbors if they'd been walking around after 3. Everyone said no. Mrs. Alvarez from across the hall laughed and said she'd been asleep by 10. A college student at the end of the hallway told me he spent the entire night gaming with headphones on. Nobody had seen anything. I convinced myself the camera had glitched. Cheap electronics. Compression artifacts. End of story. Until the next night. At exactly 3:03 a.m. Motion detected, again. This time the hallway wasn't empty. Someone was standing directly outside my apartment door. They faced the camera, completely motionless. The image was strangely distorted. Every time I tried to pause the video, the figure disappeared. When I played it normally, it returned, almost like it only existed while the footage was moving. I opened my front door immediately. The hallway was empty. Not a single sound. Not even footsteps fading away. The elevator hadn't moved. The stairwell door was still latched. Whoever or whatever it was couldn't have left. I barely slept. The following morning, I bought 3 more cameras. 1 pointed down the hallway. 1 watched my living room. The last one covered my bedroom door. If someone was getting inside, I'd know. Nothing happened for 2 nights. Then every camera detected motion at the exact same second. 3:03 a.m. The hallway camera showed the figure outside. The living room camera showed nothing. The bedroom camera made my blood run cold. My bedroom door slowly opened by itself. I lived alone. I searched every room, closets, bathroom, under the bed. Nothing. No signs of forced entry. No open windows. No explanation. I checked the recording again. The bedroom door opened, then stopped, like someone invisible had walked through it. The camera briefly lost focus. When it sharpened again, the room looked exactly the same. Except the closet door was now open. I knew I had closed it before bed. I hadn't touched it. That was the first night I considered moving. Instead, I called the building manager. He reviewed the hallway footage with me. After a long silence, he asked, "Where did you get this recording?" "My camera." He frowned. "Our hallway doesn't have that corner." I stared at him. "What?" He rotated the monitor toward me. He was right. At the end of my hallway, The recording showed a left turn. My apartment building ended in a flat wall. There had never been a corner. I rushed upstairs to check. The hallway ended exactly where it always had. Solid wall. No corner. No place for someone to hide. Yet every recording showed one. I couldn't explain it. Neither could he. That evening, he quietly admitted something. "I'm not supposed to tell residents this." He lowered his voice. "You're the fourth person to complain about seeing someone in that hallway. What happened to the others? They all moved. Did it stop?" He didn't answer. He simply walked away. The next night, I stayed awake. Coffee, energy drinks, television blaring. I watched the clock. 3:02. Nothing. 3:03. Every camera notification went off simultaneously. My phone nearly vibrated off the table. I opened the hallway feed. The figure stood closer than ever before, only inches from my door, its head tilted slightly, as if listening. Then, it raised one hand and knocked. 3 slow knocks. I jumped to the door and looked through the peephole. Nobody. The knocking continued anyway. 3 more knocks. Slow, patient, coming from the other side. I opened the door. Empty hallway. When I looked back at my phone, the hallway camera still showed the figure, standing exactly where I was, facing me, except I wasn't there. The camera showed an empty doorway, like I had disappeared. I slammed the door shut. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. The next morning, I copied every recording onto a flash drive and took them to the police. The officer watched all of them without saying a word. Finally, he asked, "Who edited these?" I didn't. He sighed. "These timestamps. What about them?" He pointed to the screen. Every video had been recorded. 3 days in the future. I laughed. He didn't. According to the metadata, the first recording wouldn't exist until Friday. It was only Tuesday. I left more confused than ever. That night, I unplugged every camera, removed the batteries, disconnected the Wi-Fi. I wanted one peaceful night. At exactly 3:03 a.m., every camera turned back on, by themselves. Each began recording, without power, without batteries, without any possible way to function. Every screen displayed the same thing. My apartment, completely empty, except for one detail. The calendar hanging in my kitchen showed a date 3 days ahead. Then, someone walked into frame. It was me. Only, I looked exhausted. My clothes were torn. There was blood running down one sleeve. Future me looked directly into the camera, then straight into me. He raised one finger to his lips, telling me to stay quiet. Behind him, something slowly emerged from my bedroom. It was taller than the doorway, too thin to be human. Its arms nearly touched the floor. Future me never turned around. He already knew it was there. He simply whispered, "Don't let it see you watching." The recording ended. I couldn't breathe. I spent the next 3 days terrified. Nothing happened. I started believing I'd imagined everything. Then Friday arrived, exactly as the timestamps predicted. Every event unfolded perfectly. The torn shirt, the cut on my arm, even the broken coffee mug lying beside the couch. Everything matched the recordings. At 3:03 a.m., I heard footsteps in my bedroom. Slow, heavy, not trying to hide. I remembered future me's warning. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. The footsteps stopped just outside the living room. Then something impossible happened. One of my cameras turned toward me. I never bought cameras that could move. Its lens slowly rotated until it stared directly into my eyes. The tiny red recording light blinked once. Then a voice came through the speaker. My own voice, only older, only terrified. "If you can hear this, It's already using your cameras. The lights went out. Every screen turned black. Then they all came back at once. Only now, every camera showed my apartment from impossible angles. From inside the walls, from beneath the floor, from the ceiling. Places no camera could ever be installed. And in every single feed, I could see myself. Except there was always someone standing behind me, just outside my field of vision. Perfectly still, watching. I ran out of the apartment before sunrise. I never went back. The police later told me the unit was completely empty. No cameras, no furniture, no signs anyone had lived there. According to the landlord, apartment 407 had been vacant for almost 11 years. I argued until they showed me the records, my lease, my payments, my driver's license. Every document listed a different apartment number. I had never lived in 407. To this day, I still get one notification every night, exactly 3:03 a.m. Motion detected. The thumbnail is always the same. An empty hallway with a corner that doesn't exist. And every night, the figure is just a little closer to my door.